What's going on, Chiefs Kingdom? My name is Jace Andrews, and you're watching the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. Happy you chose to join us. And well, today's show, you saw it in the title, saw it in the thumbnail, it's this guy, Jonathan Taylor, and trade rumors surrounding him, whether he will go to anywhere, whether he's going to stay with the Colts and the Chiefs as a dark horse contender to possibly trade for the all-pro running back. We're going to get into this right now, and the first thing we got to talk about is why this is even a possible thing. And that's exactly what we're going to start with. Now, Jonathan Taylor has been really upset with the Colts organization to the point where he requested a trade. And honestly, he is really, really upset to the point that he may not even play with the Colts until they trade him away to another team. Let's go through this timeline and how this kind of all came about. So on July 28th, that's when Jonathan Taylor requested a trade from the Colts. Now, 2 days later, on July 30th, the Colts considered placing Taylor on the non-football injury list, which means they're not going to have to pay him. It's going to say that he had something in the offseason that came in. On August 29th, they decided to put him on the PUP list. And then today, he finally returned to practice, as we had this tweet coming out from the Indianapolis Colts saying that Jonathan Taylor will return to practice on Wednesday. Now, we talked a little bit through that timeline, but I think there's another thing that we also need to mention, and we'll get that to just a moment. But the Chiefs were reported as an interested team in Taylor. That was kind of the top story a couple days ago, that there was a report put out that these were about 6 teams that were interested. Chiefs were in that mix to the point where there was proposed trades put out by ESPN. There was a bunch of rumors floating around of what would the Chiefs trade for Jonathan Taylor. Now, the first thing I want to show you is his stats for his career, honestly. He's been in the season 3 years. Here's what he's done in those 3 seasons, and they have been really, really, really good. 2020, over 1,000 yards. 2021, over 1,000 yards. And 2021, he was an absolute beast, all-pro running back, leader in the rushing yards category, along with just an absolute beast on the field, 18 touchdowns. If you drafted him in fantasy, you were doing well in 2021. Last year had the injury bug bite, did not get over 1,000 yards. Touchdowns were a little scarce, and hasn't played at all this year just yet. But again, returned to practice, and the Chiefs reported as interested in him. I mentioned to the point that there was a proposed trade thrown out there. Well, here is that proposed trade, as the Chiefs would receive Jonathan Taylor, and in return, the Indianapolis Colts would get Clyde Edwards-Helaire, a 2024 and 2025 third-round pick. That's a pretty good deal on both sides, I have to say. The only problem with that, cap space wouldn't really hit, because Clyde Edwards-Helaire is not taking up as much space as Jonathan Taylor. There would need to be some sort of movement in contracts, restructurements, which could be done by Brett Veach. We've already seen him restructure 2 contracts midseason, with, of course, the big one being Patrick Mahomes and Joe Thuney when Chris Jones got added back in. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities. But would you even want Jonathan Taylor with the way Isaiah Pacheco formed? Let me know in the comments below in today's video. This is going to be the pinned comment. Would you trade for Jonathan Taylor? I want you to get in the comments right now and type T for trade and type P for pass if you don't want Jonathan Taylor. The way Isaiah Pacheco played this past Sunday, maybe you don't think it's worth it to go after Jonathan Taylor. At the beginning of the season, I think it was definitely worth it. Maybe now, not so much for me, but we'll kind of have to see. Again, type T for trade and type P for pass. You kind of saw my opinion in that. I don't think he's worth the money overall. The cap space isn't really there for the Chiefs. And on top of which, you have Pacheco, who just showed off how good he can be. 55 carries on the season for 270 yards, just under 5 yards average. That's pretty dang good. And 2 touchdowns, including the 48-yard touchdown against the Jets on Sunday Night Football. That really kind of, I'm going to be quite honest, without that run, Chiefs may lose that game. I mean, that's just putting it all out there right now. It's really, really tough. Man, overall, I think it's just not worth the money when you have a guy like this who's been slowly increasing that carries. It went from 8 to 12 to now 20. He's getting up there. I like what I've seen from Pacheco. Hopefully, the Chiefs make the smart decision and don't waste money. All right, make sure you're subscribed to the Chiefs Report. We're going to have every single Chiefs news, rumors, update, injury reports, live shows, watch parties, everything and more, all in one place. Subscribe today. Be a part of the Chiefs Report community, youtube.com/ChiefsTV, or you can press that little red subscribe button below on the right-hand part of your screen, as we'd really appreciate it. It's a great way to support this channel, and on top of which, you join our family. We mentioned a running back. What about a wide receiver? Because I think that's where the Chiefs lack in talent a little more and kind of need that. Now, the Chiefs clearly don't have a wide receiver one. That was clear even from the beginning of the season. That Kadarius Toney was labeled as the one. That wasn't going to be what it was. We knew he was not a wide receiver one talent. He has potential to be, but so does Sky Moore. So does Marquise Valdes-Scantling. And to some extent, so does Rashee Rice. But nobody has really stood out for the first 4 games. So I think it's time to start looking at who's on the trading block. What teams are maybe, we're not going to make the playoffs this year. We want to try and get draft capital. We want to try and get something in return for this guy because he's not going to stay on this team. Well, I've put together 4 wide receivers that I think the Chiefs should target. Now, here are those 4. Tee Higgins in Cincinnati. At the beginning of the season, I don't think this was going to be a shot that Tee Higgins was going to go to the Chiefs. But the Bengals are bad. I'm putting it right out there. The Bengals are bad. Joe Burrow has looked terrible, and they're 1-3. I think it's time that they could start looking at it. They've also shown that the future with Tee Higgins in Cincinnati is not exactly the way that both of them envision. T wants to stay. He wants a lot of money. Bengals, they've already said, we don't know what the future is with you. Marquise bound in Arizona. Fast guy. Arizona's obviously tanking. Could get a trade there. Jerry Jeudy, same situation. Broncos are not doing well. And then in Denver, he's been pretty good with the deep routes, on again, off again. Then the last one, I'm going to dive into him a little bit here as just kind of saying Claypool, well, he may be released. That may be not even traded, may be a free guy. But there are 2 guys that do catch my eye on this list that you could trade for. Now, the 2 guys, well, they were the ones in the middle. But before we get to that, I want you to talk about, we're going to talk about Game Time, as Game Time is the easiest way to buy tickets for sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. And you shouldn't have to worry about buying tickets to your next big event. Game Time will give you the peace of mind when buying tickets, and their best price guarantee, they take the guesswork out of buying tickets. There's easy ways to find tickets and buy in every single kind of event in your area. Plus, one of the cool things is you're going to get a little picture of your seat, basically like a 360 view, where you're almost going to get to kind of envision what exactly you're getting on the Game Time app. There's obviously a really cool idea with that, and it's something that you're not going to get anywhere else. You're going to take the frustration out of buying it with Game Time. 2 clicks is all it takes, and you're going to get the tickets. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code ChiefsChat for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHIEFSCHAT for $20 off your first purchase. Chiefs Chat. Again, download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets at the lowest price guarantee. All right, I hinted to what exactly those 2 wide receivers are. Let's go to their stats for the past 2 seasons. Jerry Jeudy and Marquise Brown. These are the guys that caught my eye, and, well, what do you know? They kind of have similar stats. Receptions, exactly the same. More yardage for Jeudy because he's more of a downfield reception guy. He's going to go for the deep ball rather than more under routes, which also leads to more touchdowns. As you can see, he has 3 more than Marquise Brown. The average, a little bit more for Jeudy than Marquise as well. But overall, I kind of like both these options for the Chiefs and the way they fit in. It's really, really nice. But I got to ask the question to you, because I listed 4 and I listed 2 right there that I think would be good fits. What's the receiver you would want to trade for? Is it one of those 4? Is it maybe somebody that I didn't list? I want you to get in the comments of today's video and let me know if there's a receiver that you would like the Chiefs to trade for. You're going to have time with that silly YouTube ad break. So go down and put a receiver right now as who would you like to have on the Chiefs? All right, both guys have speed with Marquise Brown and Jerry Jeudy, as those are the 2 that I'm going to focus on because I think those are the 2 most likely options. And let's just say speed has been a killing factor with the Chiefs team in recent history with Tyreek Hill. I'm not going to say that Marquise Brown and Jerry Jeudy are Tyreek Hill. Not anyway. That's not going to happen. There's only one Tyreek Hill. There's only one Cheetah. He's with the Dolphins now. But it's very obvious that Patrick Mahomes can chuck it. And if you get a guy like Jerry Jeudy who can just absolutely blow by guys, along with Marquise Brown, who are also both good route runners, man, that could be a real devastating blow for the rest of the NFL because guess what? We've seen what Patrick can do with some receivers that maybe aren't fast. We've seen what he can do with some receivers that are fast. I'd really like to see what he could do with Jerry Jeudy or Marquise Brown. Hopefully, a trade is made. I'd kind of like to see it. Both those guys are pretty cheap. They'd fit in the cap space just barely if you kind of finagle some things and trade away the right pieces. All right, well, we appreciate every single one of you watching. And if you made it to the end of the video, well, I want you to let me know. Type real one in the chat. We're going to be responding to everybody who types it after today's video. We really appreciate you, and I'm so glad you made it to the end of the video. Let me know below if you made it. Type real one, and we will see you in the next Chiefs Report.